Hi everyone, as you can see the Christmas t-shirt is on, and that means I'm here to talk to you about festivities and how to keep your Labrador safe over this Christmas period. As we know, for us humans, Christmas is a huge time of indulgence, and we tend to also spoil our dogs quite a lot during that period as well, and so we should. But not all of the nice treats at Christmas that we have around for us are going to be safe for your Labrador. First up, chocolate. We have a huge amount of chocolate around every single Christmas, but it's actually poisonous to dogs, and it can have fatal effects. Store it up high if we're going to have it out, somewhere that your dog cannot get to it. And next up, we've got mince pies, Christmas cake, and Christmas pudding. These are highly toxic for dogs because they contain rich ingredients, but specifically raisins and currants are the ones that we definitely need to avoid. Raisins and currants can cause kidney failure if your dog eats them. So be careful because they're in Christmas cake, they're in Christmas pudding, they're in fruit cakes, and also mince pies. Next up, we have alcohol. It's fair to say that the vast majority of us are going to enjoy a little tipple this Christmas, and we know the effects it has on us humans if we consume too much. And alcohol can cause an array of serious health problems for your Labrador too, if they get any. Most common symptoms being that it can cause vomiting, it can cause a little bit of depression. They're visibly dizzy and unstable on their feet, and they can get breathing difficulties as well. So if we've got alcoholic drinks, make sure they're out of reach from your Labradors. Next up, we've got nuts. Macadamia nuts and certain other nuts can be very dangerous to your Labrador. They can cause dogs to suffer from vomiting, they can cause muscle weakness, or even seizures if they do consume them. So keep them away from your dog and take extra care not to drop any on the floor. If you do, just pick them up straight away and try and get to them before your Labrador dives in there. It is also important to say that not all nuts are going to be dangerous to your Labrador. Don't be concerned if you feed them things like peanut butter on a licky mat or in a Kong. That's perfectly safe for your dog, as long as it doesn't contain any xylitol. Next up, we've got grapes, and this really is for the same reasons as currants and raisins. They're highly toxic to dogs and can cause kidney failure. Even a small amount can have a toxic effect. Next up, we've got bones, but specifically cooked bones. We know that Labradors like a fresh bone to chew on, and that's absolutely fine. But when we cook a bone, it makes them weak, and that means that when your dog chews them, they can split and can splinter. And if that happens, you're potentially going to get fragments of bone that lodge anywhere between your dog's throat and their bowel, and it's potentially going to have life-threatening consequences. So avoid cooked bones at all costs. And last on our list are plants. We bring lots of natural plants into our house at Christmas, and first up, poinsettia. While they're beautiful and extremely festive, they're toxic to animals when consumed. Holly and mistletoe as well, that presents a greater threat to your dog's health. Make sure that if you're bringing plants into your house, we keep them out of reach or in rooms where your dog is not going to be going. The other thing that we do at Christmas is we bring a living tree into our house, and that's a bit weird for your dog. They probably try and chew them, they probably cock their leg on them as well. If you have a stand where you're adding water to keep the tree in optimal health over the Christmas period, be careful that your dog does not get to drink that water. It will have been there for a while, it's a little bit stale, it will contain bacteria, probably a little bit of mold. If the farmers have used fertilizer to grow your tree in the first place, potentially you're going to have fertilizers seeping out into that water as well. So barrier the Christmas tree off and don't let your dog get too close to it to drink anything. We know that you're going to do everything you can this Christmas to protect your dog and keep them safe. But accidents do happen, so if your dog consumes or eats something that you're concerned about, you think they shouldn't have had it, contact your vet immediately and simply ask the question, do I need to look out for anything in particular, or do you need to see my dog? It's always better to be safe than sorry, so for the sake of a phone call, I urge you just to reach out to them at the earliest opportunity. It's also worth reminding you that your local vet office might not be running a normal service over the Christmas period. So do a bit of research prior to the break and make sure you've got a number of your nearest emergency vet over that Christmas period. And when you do call them, you'll need to tell them what your dog has consumed, the ingredients within it, a rough amount of how much they've consumed, and you'll also need to tell them how old your dog is, how much they weigh, whether they've got any medical conditions, and that will allow them to calculate the possible levels of toxins that they've consumed. And it will give them an idea of the best way to treat your dog and to keep them as safe as possible. Have a great Christmas with your Labradors, have the most amount of fun and do everything you can to keep them safe. Thank you to our resident canine nutritionist, Sam Raggett, for coming up with that list. If there's anything else that you need help with as far as nutrition or what to avoid with putting in your dog's tummy, do reach out to us at tailsofsuccess.com and we can always point you in the right direction.